changes.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the Minnehaha County Commission meeting for August 19th, 2025. I call the meeting to order. Note for the record that we do have a quorum of commissioners present. Commissioner Bleinberg is absent this week. Before I get started, reminder to silence your cell phones. And if you're going to be speaking today, please sign in at the table in the back so we are required to have it for public record. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, look for a motion to approve our agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to our consent agenda. Consent agenda has our bills to be paid, our reports, and that type of thing. All public record and available in the auditor's office for anybody that would like to review it. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on any item on the consent agenda? Commissioners, anybody want to make any comments or pull anything from the consent agenda?
Commissioner Carson, I'd like to make one simple comment. On the bills that we paid this week, I guess that was $6,265,725. Of that, the county reimbursed or produced services for the state of $3,762,000. So half of what we have, quote, spent is going back to the state for their services. So I think in some cases, people need to realize we've become somewhat of a branch office for the state.
More than kind of, we pretty much are. All righty. Look for a motion to approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second, please call the roll.
Hipley,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Heisey,
Aye.
Karski.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on then to our regular business, we have a public hearing on the appeal of conditional use permit number 2541. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Scott Anderson, Planning Director, and as you indicated, this is a public hearing on an appeal of a conditional use permit 2541. The conditional use permit was to allow a short-term rental on property located at 46592 268th Street. This is basically on the county line between Lincoln County and Minnehaha County by Wildwater West. And this item was heard by the Planning Commission on July 28th of this year. The item was on the consent calendar. No one spoke in opposition to the request, and the item was approved unanimously on the consent agenda. It was appealed later. I have included the email that we received to appeal the item. I attached for your review a location map, the narrative submitted by the petitioner on how they would be operating the business, a copy of the appeal email, the staff PowerPoint, which was shown to the Planning Commission, and the minutes of the Planning Commission. I will go through a couple of the pictures for you and be here to answer any questions that you have. And you can, staff is recommending your options are to uphold, deny, or you can amend the conditional use permit in any way that you see fit. So we'll go through a couple of the slides, if Trish, if you would. So this is generally the property. That's a newer house. If you're familiar with the Blue Haven Barn, this is basically was built by the owners of that. There's the events facility that's there. There's several buildings that are adjacent to this that they use for the events facility. This is looking to the west. So if you see the trees that are further off to the west, that's the site where the applicant, or sorry, where the person that appealed the conditional use permit lives. This is the property, the house that will be used for the short-term rental. Once again, this is the house, just a different angle. This is the back of the house. This is looking, you can see that accessory building on the side of the property. That shows you the accessory building. This is looking back behind that. You can see some of the event facilities, and if you look off, Wildwater West would be off to the top of the picture. Another one of the events facilities. This is on the highway, on the county highway, the township road. Looking to the northeast, you can see another one of the commercial buildings that's there. And this is looking to the west again. Yeah, this is in the back, looking at that far, where the person that appealed would be living. This is looking across the street. There is a residence also that's across the street, and this is in their driveway looking to the south at that property. And that concludes the pictures. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
I think we'll hold questions, Scott, until we do the testimony here.
Okay.
So this is a public hearing, so the order we take things is the proponent, the applicant for the conditional use permit, if they're here and they would like to address the commission on any details of it, now is your opportunity. So just ask that you identify yourself and please.
I'm Linda Vale, and this is my daughter Leah, and we are co-owners, equal owners of the business and basically the home. And I hope that we can answer any questions or concerns that you may have, someone may have.
Okay. Any questions of the owner of the property? I have one, I guess. It stated that you wanted to rent it out when you don't live there. Is this your primary residence, or tell us more about your occupancy of the dwelling?
I'm going to let my daughter speak for me because I don't want to start coughing, but
I understand.
It is a primary residence. It came with the business, the event centers, and we've had a lot of interest of the bridal parties asking if we would consider renting it. And so I'm there. When I'm not there, I thought it might be feasible.
Okay.
But it is a primary residence.
Okay. Anything
One.
to add?
Pardon?
You said your daughter might want something to add.
Yeah.
I guess my mom is relocating and she has a home, her original home, to sell. And then once that sells, she was going to use this property as her residence. But the transactions haven't happened as probably quickly as we would have liked. So she doesn't live in this house full time yet.
Okay.
I guess that's the goal eventually. And then just a couple of notes that I'm on site at the wedding venues pretty much daily. And so I'm by the house again daily. We have an office in the house, and then we use one of the outbuildings to store some work related items. So I'm at the house also daily. We do have cameras to monitor on the exterior of the home, and all of the buildings on the business property are all video surveillanced. We do want to keep the country kind of a peaceful setting for everybody as well as ourselves. And I think, maybe if noise is going to be like one of the sticklers, we'd like to post quiet hours in the home, making sure our guests kind of sign off with the rental agreement that they're respectful to the neighbors and keeping the noise, down and using the home inside in the evenings and not be outside. Those were just a few points I wanted to make.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Any other proponents to, anybody else in favor of granting this conditional use permit? Are there any opponents to the granting of this conditional use permit? Anybody opposed? Please, we just need your name.
My name is Chris Lair. Do you want my address? I'm the appellant. A couple of things that I have known need to bring forth is what is the definition of a primary residence that is used for this? The reason I ask is I understand there may be some circumstances, but I have not seen Linda there in the house living more than maybe 5 days since last October. So it's not that I have anything against that. I just want to know what is the definition that the county uses to say that that's her primary residence. The other thing that I wanted to bring forth was they said that there was fencing to screen the property from the neighbors. The fencing is actually on the north side of their property by their garage and goes from that point in the northeast corner down to 268th Street. So it is actually blocking the lights and traffic of their house. Again, this is not something they did, it is something that the previous owners did. And so that fence is not blocking anything from or for the neighbors. It is strictly for them, their benefit. As far as the trees go, yes, I do have trees, but they do get sparse, and they are sparse at this time. I can sit on my front deck, and I can look out, and I can actually see their back door, their garage, and everything else. Even though you're looking at summertime with the trees all out there and leafed and that type of thing. Same thing with the neighbors to the south of them. The reason that it looks like there's a bunch of trees, it's because of the summertime and the leafing. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is the off-street parking. It says that it's number 4 of the conditional use permit, says that at least 2 off-street parking spaces for the short-term rental, given the dwelling has 2 bedrooms. Now, if you read in the other literature that was along in this packet, they're saying it's a 4-bedroom. I agree, it's probably a 4-bedroom. So the saying they only need 2 parking spots for two bedrooms is not correct. That's number 4. And another question I have is, it says there'll be no parking allowed within the right-of-way at any time. Where is that right-of-way? If it's what I think it is, but I would like a definition. It has happened in the past when they've had special things going on, and not necessarily at the house, but in other facilities like when it used to be the retreat, they would use parking along the side of the road because they ran out of room. This may be a little bit different, but in the code, it says there can be 3 people per bedroom. And if they have 4 bedrooms, that's 12. And they say they can efficiently have 12 vehicles parked at that residence. I would like to know, and so would the other neighbors, like to know where 12 cars are going to be parked. If they're going to allow them to park into the driveway that leads back to their working garage, that would be a good thing to figure out. The other thing, in their contract, they state that if there are problems with noise and it's reported, like the neighbors call in and say there's a noise issue, and the sheriff's department comes out and they find that, you guys are a little bit too loud, you need to quiet down, however they handle it, that's fine. But then in the contract, it says that the owners can withhold some or all of their deposit that they put down. But what does that do for the neighbors other than disrupt their lives? It does nothing. We have the same thing with the Blue Barn right now and in the past, and we have had one incident with the new owners. But all that we get told is they've been talked to, they say they won't do it anymore. Is that how it's going to be handled here? Is that what the neighbors have to look forward to? There has to be something else. I'm glad that the owners get to keep the money if that's how they decide to handle it, but what benefits or what can the neighbors get out of this other than just being told, we've talked to them? And that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lair. All right. Any other opponents to the issuance of this conditional use permit? Okay, we do give the proponent a chance to rebut if you have anything, if you want to address any of the questions or anything from Ms. Lair, this would be your opportunity.
I just made a couple notes here that I question a little bit. In any of the paperwork and forms that I filled out, I didn't state that we had 2 bedrooms and 2 parking spots. There are 3 formal ensuite bedrooms in the home with another room that can function as a sleeping room. So I've always stated that there's 4 sleeping rooms in the home. And then any parking, we've never parked vehicles out on the gravel county road going by. There's been some overflow parking in the grass areas where the parking lots haven't been able to accommodate guests. So it's been on our property in our private development. It's never been out on the county gravel road. And then I guess I'm not aware of any incidents that we've had as new owners, any issues with the wedding venues that as we've been running, haven't had any issues with law enforcement or any rules that we haven't followed. Those were my only notes. Thank you.
All right. I'll turn it now over to the commission as a body for questions and/or action.
Mr. Chair,
Kipley?
I guess I would just note that we've had quite a few of these short-term rental issues that we're kind of starting to navigate what is a good situation to approve one of these, and we've had cases where we've disapproved, but I would note that staff recommended approval, and this was approved unanimously at the Planning Commission level, but I guess I'd just ask Scott to come back forward any responses. I know we have different parameters for what makes an acceptable use of a short-term rental. Can you just walk us through what led to your recommendation? I mean, the fact that this also was on the consent agenda seemed to me that really staff didn't see many issues with this, but can you just give us the case?
Well, so as a staff recommendation, we look at the property and make an evaluation. This one relatively didn't have neighbors that were nearby. I mean, you could, if you read the minutes, my staff report is included in there, and I indicated that there were basically 3 residences around this property. The closest one is the one to the south. That's about 500 feet. There's the property to the west, which is the person that appealed this, is 650 feet away. And then there was another property, another residence, 700 feet to the east. This is also, if zoning-wise, the property is on two sides. The north side of this house and the east side is, the property is zoned commercial. So there's already commercial activity that's occurring on that property, has been for many years. I will indicate that while the appellant has indicated that the fencing is not useful to the neighbors, I would remind you that there is a neighbor to the east. It's 700 feet away, and there is a fence along the east property. So that's why I noted that in the staff report. I will also indicate that I'm not sure where the 12 parking spaces came up, which was brought up, because our ordinance requires 2 parking spaces for each bedroom. In the staff report, I've indicated there's 4 bedrooms. The applicant has confirmed that. So they would need a maximum of 8 off-street parking spaces. You can see from the air photo that there's a triple stall garage there with an apron. So there's at least 3 indoor parking spaces. There's 3 parking spaces on the concrete apron, and at least 2 other spaces that would be along that long gravel driveway. And we can go back and look at the pictures if you want, but the air photo sort of speaks for itself. So that was the primary driving reason for approving this. It didn't really have any nearby neighbors. There's an existing commercial use in the area. It's a relatively new house. It's less than 10 years old. They have planted trees. You can see some of the trees that they have planted, that the applicant has planted. Those are in the process of maturing, and they do have some fencing there. So I felt it was an appropriate use and that's why we gave it a recommendation for approval. Be glad to answer any specific questions that you have.
That's sufficient for me, Mr. Chair, but I'll defer to any of my colleagues that want to ask any other questions.
I have one, Scott. Were there any special conditions placed on this other than what we typically would do for a short-term rental?
No, there wasn't. And we have some specific guidelines in our zoning ordinance that requires certain things in conjunction with the approval of a short-term rental. And that is why it's listed in condition number 4 that they meet all the requirements of that 1217, which is the short-term rental chapter of our zoning ordinance.
So when it references the 2 off-street parking for 2 bedrooms, I mean, is that?
That's part of the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 per bedroom?
2 per bedroom.
Okay. Because it's a little confusing the way it's spelled out in here. It says that there's 2 off-street parking for short-term rental, given that the dwelling has 2 bedrooms. So it should actually have, the way number 4 is written on your notes.
I guess I see condition number 4 says that all requirements of Article 1217 vacation home rental, short-term rental of the 1990 revised ordinance for Minnehaha County be followed. So that's the condition number 4.
Yeah, no, I see where you're looking at under the recommendation. I'm looking above that number 4, paragraph 4, that the off-street parking and loading requirements
it should, there are 4 there, and that is a typo. It should be 4 bedrooms. So I apologize for that. But the actual condition of approval was number 4 requires 2 per bedroom. I mean, that is the overriding requirement of the zoning ordinance. So they have to provide 2 per bedroom, and they meet that requirement, or will meet it, or let me say they are able to meet that requirement.
Does a garage count as parking spots?
Yes.
Okay.
So the interior, each garage space counts as an off-street parking space, and then, whatever parking you can fit. Obviously, you can see there's a car on the apron, and they probably could fit 2 more beside that car.
Okay.
And then other
Thank you.
spaces as well.
All right, Commission, any other questions, motion?
Chair. Hey, good morning, Scott.
Morning.
I'm just curious if there's been any complaints in the past for the use of the event spaces. And I do know that short-term rentals are fairly new within the county, and if there are problems down the road with any short-term rental, including this one, assuming that we approve it today, how does the public, the neighbors, issue a complaint, or what's the process that one would go through to do that?
Well, so I'll answer your first question first. We have not received any complaints on the commercial activity of the Blue Haven barn. So that's answer question number one. The other, to answer your other question, like all land use complaints that we can receive in the county, they would call the planning department and or send an email. There's several different ways, but they contact us and would indicate that there's some kind of violation, and then we would start investigating it. And if there were indeed violations, we would contact the property owner, indicating that we'd received a complaint and that they needed to address that issue. If the problem continued, we do have further options to take that complaint further, and that would be a review, a formal review of a recall and a review of the conditional use permit in front of the Planning Commission. And at that time, the Planning Commission can take action. They can add more conditions, they can revoke the conditional use permit. They have a whole host of options available to them.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
To approve, and a second. Additional comments?
I do, Mr. Chair, have one question for the applicant. I wanted to ask how much of the year will the space be rented, and will it primarily be used for guests accessing the event barn?
We've talked about this quite a bit and haven't determined, like a clear time that my mom will be here, and when she isn't here, she uses the home, as she needs it right now. The wedding season for us, we're busy May through October, so I could see the home being used clearly probably 6 months for the wedding season, and maybe occupied 6 months from my mom, but that still isn't, a totally solid plan.
Thank you.
Okay, motion and a second. Call the roll.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on, briefing on Scouting America partnership with Minnehaha County State's Attorney's Office. State's Attorney Daniel Hager. Morning, sir.
Morning, Mr. Chair, County Commission. Appreciate the opportunity to stand in front of you. These are, I guess, positive things to talk about, which I always enjoy. It's not always the case when I'm up here, but certainly this commission is familiar with some of the diversion process for juveniles in Minnehaha County. A lot of that is mandatory under statute. That's a change that came a while ago. But as we work through that, we're always looking for programs and partnerships in the community to make sure that we have programs to send juveniles to when they have diversion opportunities. That's very important. We've talked in the past about how it's important to have partners in the community who offer those. One of those partners is Scouting America. We have two individuals from that program here. They're going to come up, they'll introduce themselves and talk about it. But this partnership stems from some of the reimbursement that the state has put into place the past few years. Initially, that amount was $250 per successful diversion. Last year, they had upped that to $750,000. We have, or $750 per successful diversion. We have Elizabeth Calise, who's the juvenile diversion coordinator in the state's attorney's office. Certainly that reimbursement money is good for the county, good for the taxpayers, and that reimburses the costs in the office for those programs. As we are diverting cases, they're staying out of the criminal justice system. That can be good for some of those juveniles. It can be good for, again, the taxpayers, as you have cases that are staying out of an already busy system, not bringing in defense attorneys, but that is work that my office is doing, and they're doing it well. So certainly glad to have those reimbursement options from the state. But I guess the good news is when they bumped that from 250 to 750, that was last year was the first year that we had more money than we had incurred in a cost. So that's good news. It's good news for Minnehaha County taxpayers. Certainly that money's coming from the state, so taxpayers are putting that in there anyway. But for Minnehaha County, that's a good thing. We started looking for programs that we could continue to support initially, and so I'll bring up Scouting America. They'll tell you a little bit about the Teen Court program and some of the good things that they're doing.
Thank you. I'm Chris Evans, and I'm the Juvenile Diversion Director and Teen Court, and this, I'll let.
Good morning. Melissa Stricker is Executive Director for Scouting America. Thank you for this opportunity.
So I'll just start a little bit and tell you about my role in doing juvenile diversion and teen court. So we have been around and working with the state's attorney's office and the juvenile diversion as an approved diversion program, which is our teen court program, for the last 20 years. So what happens is that initially we get a referral from Elizabeth Calise. Once we get that referral, those cases that come to me are for those first-time nonviolent offenders. So most of the cases that I see are for drug and alcohol cases and petty theft cases. Upon receiving that referral from them, I make contact with the family, set up time to do an intake, and then get them scheduled for teen court. One of the great benefits of teen court is, there's many, but one of them is that the youth are very excited about, is that if they come in and they do this program and they do it successfully and complete the things that they need to, it gives them a fresh start. It goes off their record. And it doesn't have to be looming over for their future for college, and many of them have aspirations to go to college and in the workforce. So we get that done. The teen court process itself is they are sentenced by a jury of their peers. So it's other youth that have come before them, then become the jury and do their sentence. They are sentenced for like 10 to 50 hours for community service. I am very thankful for the community partners that we have that work with our community, our youth for community service. Some of those that we work with are the Banquet, Feeding South Dakota, the Food to Mobile Market Pantry, the St. Francis House, Journey of Hope, the Furniture Mission. They can also do it through their school and their church. And then we are in the process of adding Habitat for Humanity and always looking for other nonprofits in the community that we can build that partnership with to do community service. Then they are also required to do anywhere between 60 and 150 what we call community action points. What that entails is we like to recognize these youth for the things that they're already doing to contribute. Having jobs, they get points for having jobs. We also have them do some essays as far as related to their charges. They watch some videos. We have some specific things related to their charge that they have to do and write about. They get to choose, for the most part, from a list of things that I provide for them, but they might write about restorative justice. They might write an essay about what their first time using was like, that kind of thing. So then they also do 1 to 4 jury terms where they come back and serve as a juror for the people coming after them, the youth. They oftentimes are sentenced to writing apologies to anybody in the community that they've harmed, stores, family members. And then they also may have to do additional things. We have anybody that has a drug or alcohol charge. One of the requirements is that they have to do a drug and alcohol assessment and follow those recommendations. Once they are sentenced, they have 100 days to successfully complete that. Upon that successful completion, then I send a letter to the state's attorney's office indicating that they've been successful. And then they come in and bring their paperwork in, and they get a letter from me again about a week later saying how successful they are. And one of the things that often happens that is great to see is I have them fill out some end of their time paperwork. And we'll just read just a couple to you. It's a defendant evaluation. One of them asks what their first impression of teen court is. Many times when they come, they are extremely anxious about coming to teen court. They don't know quite what to expect. One young man wrote, "It's a great opportunity for kids who make dumb mistakes. It was a good experience to help me learn." And then they're asked to rate their experiences as far as their community service, their action points, their assessment, and that varies, but I can tell you that one of the most greatest opportunities that they report is doing community service. It was a good amount for each thing that I had to do. One of the other young men wrote that it was fit for the crime, that they also had plans to go back to the banquet following their time with doing their community service, wanted to go back. So I could read you a lot of them. I will tell you there's a couple times that they'll say I didn't quite understand it or I thought it was unfair, but the sentencing, but overall, the youth come back and say what a great opportunity is. Some of them have reported what they've learned about themselves as well. During that 100-day time, I also spend time building those relationships with them when they come to teen court as a juror. So I spend time before jury actually gets going, interacting with them, finding out how things are going in their school life, in their daily life. They know that they can call and text me and email me if they have questions. I give them any time of the day because I know their hours are different, but they know that I probably am not going to answer at midnight. But I do give them the opportunity so they don't forget to have that available to them to text or email those questions. So in 2024, we had a successful completion rate of 97.62%, which then went for our recidivism rate was 7.14. Overall, I'm very pleased and excited when we look at where our recidivism rate is with teen court. One of the other things that happened when I came on board is that initially we were running 2 nights a month for teen court, and now we are running 3 times a month for teen court. And as of today, so far, we have served 84 youth so far this year. So that's what I have, if anybody has any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Yeah. Daniel, anything to add?
Thank you.
I think it's important when we look at juveniles, right? The diversion is a nice opportunity for us to get involved early on in their lives. Certainly, we do not want to see them continuing to commit crime, ending up adults to the point where then we're looking at penitentiary time. So these programs are important. They're doing good work. They've been a good partner for a long time. So happy to support them. This is not an action item that's in front of you. This is a briefing. So have made your job easier this morning, but also happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Daniel. We do take public comment on briefings, so is anybody who would like to address the commission regarding this briefing, now is your opportunity.
I think that is an amazing thing.
Ma'am, for this part, I do need you to come up and,
Sorry.
yeah, give your name.
I think that would be, that is amazing. That is just amazing to hear those numbers. I wish that more of us knew those numbers, I guess. That's awesome. I'm just so for it. Thank you.
And your name?
My name is Jenny.
Jenny? Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
All right. I think most of us would agree with you that, it is something that requires a little bit of extra effort and time commitment from the state's attorney, the public defender, Boy Scouts, numerous other organizations, but the outcomes are definitely better than the alternative. And to hear that you only have a 7% recidivism rate, to me, is outstanding. So, yeah, thank you. Any other comments, Commissioner
Just
Kipley?
one comment, Mr. Chair. I think a previous conversation I've had with you, I think you're using a city facility as your main location. And I would just encourage us to investigate our new juvenile justice center as something that's a 24/7 facility. And if you're having any trouble with access to facilities, I think that the county, and we've got a state's attorney that's obviously supportive of you. So keep doing what you're doing, and going to 3 nights a week. And if facilities are ever a problem, I think the idea of building a juvenile justice center, I'd much rather our juvenile justice center house court proceedings that are helping people get to the next step than housing kids. We'd love that building to be empty because they've been so successful with diversion programs. So as we go forward and you guys continue to collaborate with our state's attorney, if there's anything we can do on the facility side, I think that juvenile justice center has some potential.
Did you have something to add, Daniel?
I have the next item.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item.
Okay, I just got one quick question for Daniel. I just want to first say that I think this is a great program from what I heard today, and I think it's a great bang for our buck, keeping youth off the streets, out of the JDC, and reforming them, making them a productive member of society. My question was, it looks like there's 2 installments of $4,500. Are those all the costs for the entire year? Those 2 payments?
Unfortunately, it's not. They had provided me with a budget that was a projected shortfall when we talked and started these discussions. They can talk to the full cost. It's not. And if there are other members of the public who are interested in helping fund a program that's having a great impact, I would encourage them to get in touch with Scouting America. But I do hope that this is a partnership with the reimbursement coming from the state that we can continue to build on and support. But that is not the full cost of the program, no.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, we'll move on to your next briefing on juvenile diversion partnership with Think 3D.
Thank you. I guess this is how I would hope to use the reimbursement money, certainly funding programs that we know are working. Also look for opportunities to increase those program options. The Think 3D option would be a new juvenile program. Tamian Dysart is here, and he'll come up and talk about that program. We ended up in discussions with this program based on what we'd seen work on an adult level. His group has become involved with Leaders of Tomorrow, and again, I don't want to poorly explain the program. He'll talk through this, but they have a Leaders of Tomorrow program that they'd started in the community, had shifted that and started involving justice impacted individuals. On the adult side, we had started sending some people to those programs. They had gotten other individuals from the court system, has had success on an adult side with recidivism. So based on that success, we look to maybe partner with them on a juvenile side. So I will let Tamian come up, talk through that, but this is a program that we're going to support. It's going to be a new program, and hopefully it can turn into a repeat successful thing.
Morning, Tamian.
Morning, Commission. Thank you for having us. Having me. This new program, Juvenile Diversion, obviously is an extension of the existing Leaders in Tomorrow program that we had massive success with at the adult level. We're inside the prison, inside the county jail. We also have had 4 years now working with the high school population. And so in 2022, we expanded our Leaders in Tomorrow program and went into Joe Foss. And so we've been working with the high school population. Just north of 160 graduates have been through our Leaders of Tomorrow Next Gen program. And so we're kind of fusing the two, the work that we've done with the justice impacted on the adult level, as well as the successes we've seen coming out of the high schools that we've worked with this very population. And so this program is a 16-week program. similar to what we've done on the adult side. It's an hour and a half each week. We can take up to 35, 36 or so individuals. What I'm probably most excited about this, because what we know is you can put anyone through a program, especially on the juvenile side, but if you don't change their environments, you don't change their friend groups, they'll often find themselves back in the same scenario. We're excited that we've been having conversations and are partnering with Boys and Girls Club. And so they're going to be where we're locating the program is inside the Boys and Girls Club. It's a one-time-a-week program for 16 weeks. And Boys and Girls Club will be doing the transportation from all 4 high schools to their location on 10th Street with the hope of saying they can come all 5 days of the week. And so when I think about how do we truly start to divert youth, you have to be able to change their mindset, give them access to a different way of thinking, which leads them to the right path or the wrong path. You have to help provide different environments, because if they have the same home life and the same bad influences, that finds them back there. But if they can find new environments, i.e. a Boys and Girls Club, more of a supportive network, they can find themselves on a true path of success. And then last, what we've seen work several times over is truly the cohort model. In a cohort, you're building new relationships, you're building new friendships, you're building other people who want better versus just doing the same old stuff that led you down the path to find yourself needing diversion in the first place. And so through the cohort model, they build those relationships, et cetera. And so that's what we're excited about, that the relationship with the Boys and Girls Club, that if we can tether them to other folks, other kids who are showing up to be better, to do better, that will also help in the success of the program. So for diversion, they'll have to attend at least 12 of the 16 weeks. We'll be partnering and working with Elizabeth to build up that list. Once we we have a list of at least 30 plus individuals, we'll get our start date. And so this will be for 16 weeks, 1 day a week, led by myself, Vani, and Manny, who are also on our team. Those 2 gentlemen have 20 plus years coaching youth football, so they have high experience working with this population as well, which I'm excited to bring forth into that. Last thing I'll just share, this is our last Next Gen program we had this fall, just a few highlights from the post surveys from that. We had 32 graduates to our Roosevelt program. We had 100% being able to clearly distinguish the difference between toxic and healthy environments. Their self-confidence, which is always a huge issue, 94% increase in their confidence. Around their social networking and belonging, we had 94% reporting stronger and more supportive relationships, 87% more emotional well-being, and then the sense of belonging was at 87%. And so building this kind of cohort model, building better environments, and truly belief in themselves is a huge crux to helping them make the right decisions versus going down the wrong path.
All right. Thank you, Damian. Daniel, anything to add? All right, we'll take public comment on this. Commission, questions? Damian, if I could, is there overlap between the people that you're serving here and the ones in juvenile court? Do you see some of the same people, or are they totally not related to each other? And when we talk about diversion, the diversion is post offense. I mean, they've been probably accused of something or not. Where is this diversion at?
For this program, these will be juveniles who have come into contact with law enforcement.
Okay.
We will offer them diversion in lieu of coming to juvenile court.
Okay.
So all these individuals in this program, I anticipate, will be individuals who've had contact with law enforcement.
So they'll avoid charges by doing the diversion program?
By successfully completing it, yes.
Okay. So there isn't overlap then, most likely.
Tough to say. Honestly, they're all hanging out together. They're all going to school together. And so, again, when Tavian talks about developing those positive friend groups, those individuals that you're hanging out with, that's very influential on a juvenile's mind. And so having them hanging out with the right people, having individuals in Think 3D and Scouting America who are investing into those kids, very important, but also surrounding them with peers who are going to encourage them to volunteer at the banquet, right? Like make sure that they are being productive future members of society.
Thank you. Better grasp of it now, so I appreciate it. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for Daniel. Just curious about the nature of the crimes committed by individuals that are referred to this program.
Yeah, so under statute, there's mandatory diversion for individuals for juveniles who do not have a prior adjudication, so haven't been found adjudicated guilty of a crime, or diverted in the past 12 months. Those are nonviolent offenses. You'll have, they're non-citation. I hate starting to get into the legal words that don't make sense, but it could be early drug offenses, early property crime, but you can't have victim cases, right? Those are not mandatory diversions, so we're still making sure that victims are being made whole. You can have some petty thefts, but again, you heard talk of some restorative justice, like they may be writing apology letters, paying restitution, but a lot of these are like misdemeanor offenses, not incredibly serious, but also some first steps for juveniles.
You had said mandatory diversion programs. Is that state law?
Correct. Yeah, under state statute, you have to offer diversion. It's mandatory for some of these crimes. Certainly, a prosecutor can offer diversion on other crime that's not mandated by statute, but those are case-by-case analysis. And again, when you get into some of that serious crime, good prosecutors aren't going to offer diversion on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. We have considered an abatement application recommended for denial by the Department of Equalization on parcel 021741 for 2022 property taxes in the amount of $1,124.84. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Commissioner. Chris Lilly, Equalization Director. Yeah, on this parcel here, unfortunately, the individual was in and looking at taxes and wondering what was going on. Requested abatements for the 22 pay 23 as well as for the 24 pay 25. The 24 pay 25 was on your consent agenda today and that was approved. This one here, the 22 pay 23 fell outside of the time limit, but because we have a abatement application, I have to make a recommendation of denial on this for being out of time limits. So it's more of a formality than anything in this case. So one is denied, one is approved today.
All right. We will take, I don't know if the applicant is here.
They've been made aware. We've been in contact.
Okay, so they're not here?
No.
Okay. So they're aware that you've recommended denial. What is their next step if we approve the denial?
It's done. They just won't get refunded those taxes.
They can't go to the Department of Revenue or appeal?
They probably could, but they're aware of the situation and that it was basically requested in error. So.
Okay, okay. Any public comment on this? Commission questions or action?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Morning, Chris. I understand that individuals that are applying for the elderly tax freeze have to do that every single year. Do we know how many years this individual was getting the elderly tax freeze?
Yeah, they applied for their first time in 23, pay 24, and then missed the 24, pay 25. And so that is also another reason why this was denied, is because they hadn't established a base year previously in a previous year to be refunded. But it's out of time compliance to request the abatement.
My only comment is it makes us the bad guys that we're denying this when in reality we have no choice but to uphold the law of the state of South Dakota as we said we would. All right. Look for a motion.
I'll make the motion to uphold the recommendation to deny.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, an annual review of Minnehaha County investment policy. Looking forward to this. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. And before I start, Chris Swanson, Minnehaha County Treasurer. And before I get started, Commissioner Benninga, I've got your
Thank you.
I'll give it to you. So, anyway, good morning. I am here to talk about our investment policy. The Minnehaha County Commission adopted its current investment policy in December of 2007. This policy was a result of recommendations by the Investment Policy Review Committee at that time. So through discussion and correspondence with our investors and through our monthly investment meetings, we've made changes to the policy as noted in the new red letter section labeled diversification. Over the last couple of years, we have discussed diversification in our investment meetings. We've actually even visited with some of our investors because we have one institution that consistently gives us higher interest rates, and so we have a tendency to want to go with where we can make our money, the best return. And so we were getting like, okay, do we need to watch this, make sure we've got more of an even pie. And so we had a meeting with our investors, and they were very kind as to even provide the South Dakota codified law on collateralization. But after researching investment policies of other South Dakota counties and municipalities, we found that many had similar diversification sections that did not place maximum on the amount that can be invested in certain financial institutions. And then I just wanted you to know that our goal is to invest with the greatest amount of return while making sure we follow the guidelines of our investment policy. And today is the annual review of the policy and a briefing on the proposed changes. If there are no additional changes to the policy, I will be here next week asking you to approve the policy changes.
All right. Public comment on this briefing. Okay. Commission questions? I just have one comment, and I apologize for taking up so much time, but I wasn't aware until I went through this that if we have money in a bank that exceeds the FDIC limit, they have to collateralize everything over. So we are guaranteed the principal that we have on deposit.
And that was our big question, it's like, oh, what happens if, because, for a while there we had heard banks were going under. And so that really got us thinking like, oh, we've got to be a little bit more aware of what we are doing here. And so we did some research, and that's why we started the investment, committee. And then we've had some, institutions that are just wonderful to visit with about all of this. So, yeah.
Appreciate your work and the work of your committee on this. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right, moving on. Consider a motion to authorize Human Resources to schedule 2025 health and dental insurance premium holidays. Morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Carrie Deaver from Human Resources. You might remember that I've given similar presentations or made similar requests in the past. It's always a joy to be in front of you and being able to do this. Essentially, what I'm asking for authorization to do is to schedule health and dental premium holidays if the health fund is at an appropriate point. So as you recall, the county operates self-insured health and dental plans. We monitor the claims. We set the revenue based on collecting premiums from employees and the contributions from the county. Right now, we're sitting at a good level. For the past 4 months, that health fund reserve has averaged over $4.9 million. So I'm asking for your support to schedule a premium holiday, planned one for sure on September 4th of 2025. And if the health fund is at appropriate levels, meaning it exceeds at least $4.7 million in the future, and we think based on the claims that we're expecting, we can afford to offer a holiday, possibly schedule future ones through 2025.
All right. Public comment on this agenda item. Commission, turn it to you for action or questions.
I'd make a motion to authorize the schedule that's been set up for the holiday for September 4th.
Second.
Motion and a second. I guess my only comment or question, Carrie, is what is a typical effect to an employee's paycheck when we have a holiday like this?
It depends on what level their or what their elections are for insurance. So if they have family insurance, single, E+1, essentially they're not having that deduction from the paycheck.
Couple $100.
Yep, could be possibly up to $350.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
So, all right.
And just to clarify, does this also give me authorization to schedule future ones if the health fund is at an appropriate level?
Over $4.7 million.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Benega?
Aye.
Heisey?
Aye.
Kipley?
Aye.
Karski.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider a motion to approve changes related to the county's compensation and benefit study.
Okay.
Did I skip one?
Yes, I believe we have contract
No,
compliance
let's
before
back
that.
up. Okay, consider a motion to approve policy revisions for federal contract compliance. I can see why you were like, what?
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
yeah.
You did catch me off
Apologize.
guard. The next two items are actually follow-ups on agenda discussions from August 5th. This first one is a request now today to approve policy revisions to help us ensure compliance with Executive Order 14173. That refers to affirmative action. As you may recall, I had mentioned last time during the briefing that the intent behind this is to ensure that we're complying with federal law. It does not change the county's policy on non-discrimination and anti-harassment.
Public comment on this agenda item. All right. Commission, questions, action?
Approve the federal policy compliance issues.
That's a motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Benega.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider a motion to approve changes related to the county's compensation and benefits study. Seems like you just read that.
Well, you've also talked about it repeatedly over the past year, so it's my joy to be in front of you today asking for formal approval on several key revisions to the county's pay and benefits in response to the study that's being conducted. On August 5th, I briefed you on four main components that came out of this compensation and benefit study that's been conducted over the past year. Two of them relate to changes effective September 27th, and two of them for changes effective December 20th. For September 27th, we presented on August 5th a recommendation for how to implement a new pay plan and how to transition our employees who are full-time, non-union, and non-elected onto that new pay matrix on September 27th. And then, of course, because we'd be implementing a new pay matrix, there were also handbook revisions that we discussed on last Tuesday, talking about the changes to the handbook for the new pay plan design, promotions, demotions, on-call pay, those types of things. For the December 20th changes, those pertain predominantly to time off benefits, PTO, ESL, and holidays, and also variable hour and seasonal employee pay ranges. So today, it's my pleasure to be in front of you asking for formal approval of those four main components of the comp study. We really think that this study has yielded great results that will put us in a better position organizationally and to hopefully continue to recruit and retain well-qualified staff. The briefing materials and our discussion on August 5th included a lot of the details of what what we're recommending for implementation. I'm happy to review any of those for you or answer any questions, but outside of that, we're asking for formal approval today.
Okay. Public comment? Commission action? Comments?
Mr. Chair, I'll just make the comment that this was a great process. It was good to level set and check in with an expert on where our pay ranges should be. I think this helped us with some of our union negotiations, and it all bundled together quite well. So appreciate our HR department and all the work that went into it. And with that, I guess I'd make a motion to approve these recommendations as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Additional comments?
I make one comment, Mr. Chair. Carrie, just out of curiosity, maybe for the sake of the public, what are some, and also our employees, what are some key takeaways for these updates that we're voting on today?
Sure. The main component really is implementing a new pay matrix for our full-time, non-union, non-elected staff, and that would be implemented on September 27th. Employees would transition onto that pay matrix at, of course, nobody's pay would be lowered, so they would be placed on a step that's closest to but higher than their current rate of pay. Because of the transition, and frankly, there will be a number of people who will be in the lower third of the matrix because of some of the compression with that. Individuals may be seeing changes in their step date. We're poised to send out later today communication to employees so they understand how this would be implemented and what kind of impact it would have to their pay and to their step date. The other major component really is changes to time off benefits and then to the salary ranges that we offer for both seasonal and variable hour pay. But just as a quick recap, the seasonal hour and variable hour pay changes and the time off benefit changes would not occur until December 20th. So basically for 2026.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks.
And just for the record, this does not include elected officials. We make adjustments to elected officials' salaries in December and county commission first meeting of the year in January. So this does not impact any of the elected officials.
None of the items before you do, no.
Yep. Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider a motion to approve the Minnehaha County AFSCME Highway Union Contract. Morning, Tom.
All right, good morning. Tom Greco, Commission Administrative Officer. Happy to report to you that we've concluded negotiations with the Highway Union and have before you the agreement for your approval. I do want to just begin by thanking the negotiating team, particularly on behalf of the commission, which included Jacob Morris, Carrie Deaver, I was also on it, and the highway negotiating team led by Heather Myers, the president of the Highway Union. Very productive negotiations, and they do reflect a lot of what Carrie did just speak to. So I am going to cover the key points of the Highway Union contract and then turn it over to you for any questions and motions. So first, in terms of wages, changes are reflective of what Carrie briefed are going to apply to the remainder of the employees in the county come September 27th. So one point I do want to make here is that this agreement, similar to the DA union agreement, would be effective September 27th. In terms of our hours of work, we did remove the shift premium of $1 per hour for the hours worked between 8 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. This was a big point of discussion, but I do want you to remember there is a great benefits or a wage package here, as well as benefits, particularly PTO. Overtime, compensatory time, we clarified some of the language in there to just ensure that we are making a clear distinction between our guaranteed time and a half and overtime. Equipment and uniforms, that did see an increase in the allowance for uniforms for our highway personnel from $400 to $450. We've also included in the contract an option to utilize a uniform service. So as that develops, I'm sure Jacob will come back and talk to you about that program. Employee benefits, again, similar to the remainder of the population, of the employee population, President's Day has been added as a holiday. Some additional items regarding holiday pay. We do provide for the recording of 8 hours of holiday pay on holidays not worked during summer hours, down from 10 hours. So that's a reduction. That does align the highway union with the remainder of our workforce throughout the county, to include the other union. Also, in terms of paid time off, Carrie talked about that during her presentation. This mirrors the proposal that you've seen previously. And then also increases extended sick leave, also something Carrie discussed. However, we did place a cap of 960 hours on that. Other provisions, we did update certain language in it to make it gender neutral. We did address winter hours. They'll begin no later than November 10th. It's previously been November 15th. And then just some other items in there to include a review or a recapitulation of the pay matrix for those employees. So again, want to thank the entire team, and also I would be remiss if I didn't thank our finance and budget officer for a lot of the number crunching that was done for this effort, and certainly the one that Carrie presented before. So with that, I would turn it over to the commission for any questions.
For that, we'll take public comment. Any public comment on this contract approval? All All right, moving on then. Commission, turn it over to you for action, discussion.
I would make a motion to approve the ASME Highway Union contract.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye, motion carries. Consider a motion to authorize the Commission Administrative Officer to submit a UJS Courthouse Security Grant application for improvements to Courtroom 4E.
Okay, Tom Greco, Commission Administrative Officer again. As the title states, this is to authorize me to submit an application to the Unified Judicial System. They have a courtroom or a courthouse security grant program where monies are awarded to counties on a rolling basis throughout the year. In this particular case, we're applying for what they call a Tier 1 grant request, meaning it's less than $10,000. And in this particular instance, we're looking to garner funding to install security glass on the recently renovated courtroom 4E. So 4E is that room that used to be the law library. It's been converted to a courtroom. And so the security glass is similar to other glass that's been approved through security or through these courthouse security grants in the past. So in this case, the cost of the glass and the installation is approximately $8,500. The state would pay 75% of that, so a little over $6,000, and the remainder would come from the county. I would recommend your approval of this, and we'll get the application sent in and keep you updated on the status.
Public comment on this agenda item. Commission, turn to you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Heisey.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye, motion carries. Authorize the Commission Administrative Officer to sign owner change order number 2 to install a Storm Tech underground water detention system at the Juvenile Justice Center.
Okay, Tom Greco again. So the purpose of this change order, if you recall, this was discussed at the Building Committee meeting in March and also April. This particular system removes the need to have 2 detention ponds on the Juvenile Justice Center property. Those were included in the original design. What this does is it places an underground storage basin or places a storage basin underground. In this case, it'll be under the parking lot, which will be a concrete parking lot, negating the need to have those detention ponds on the site. By removing the detention ponds, it allows for the expansion of the current JJC, of the planned JJC Phase 2 facility. So that also has been discussed and will likely be a forthcoming change order at a future meeting, but that would add an additional 6,000 square feet or so to the facility, allowing us for greater flexibility in the future as we continue to grow. So this particular change order is in the amount of $355,072. It does not change the overall project budget. I do want to emphasize that the project budget remains at approximately $47.6 million, but it would increase the guaranteed maximum price for our contractor, Henry Carlson. This is the second change order of the project. The first one, if you recall, was an adjustment to the GMP, which, if you remember from last year, was actually a decrease in the guaranteed maximum price due to favorable bidding. So we're in a good position with this. This will be the first owner contingency funds that we expend, so would request your approval of this. Subject to your questions, that's all I have.
Public comment. All right. Commission.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye, motion carries. All right, moving on. Last item is consider a petition for compromise of lien DPNO 42330. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Sandy Kinder, Commission Assistant. The Commission Office has received an application to request a compromise of DPNO 42330 in the amount of $18,057.54 with no payment from the petitioner. The lien was discovered during a title search. The applicant was recently approved for South Dakota Housing First Time Home Buyers Program. She wasn't aware of the lien, so in order to close, it needs to be satisfied. All of her cash is tied up to the moving expenses and closing. The lien dates back to 1999 for legal services and human services. It was compromised to 0 in 2005, and in 2010 started incurring charges again. The petitioner is currently employed. She lists assets of $6,048.05 and liabilities totaling $3,925.43, which consist of personal loans, some attorney services, and credit card balances. She is entitled to back pay child support, which she's receiving very small payments, I believe, for. In her 24 income tax listed an adjusted gross of $37,393. She received a refund of $3,538. Her most recent pay statements show biweekly income of $1,660. Home disclosure, closing disclosure, has a purchase price of $224,900 with a $5,000 credit from the seller. She needs to come up with $9.57 to close, and that's after her $11,000 home buyer's credit from SDHDA. Petitioner's here. If you have any questions, I believe she'd like to make a statement.
Okay. So procedure for this is you can make a statement. We've all had an opportunity to read your package, and you can add any comments, et cetera. You can do it from right where you are. You don't have to give us your name, but you're free to add to what you already provided.
My name is Jenny. I thank you for seeing me. This is education to me. This is very exciting, not entertaining, but like educational. I'm nervous. Okay.
And that's fine. We understand. Just take a breath and, yeah.
Okay. I'm an addict and an alcoholic in recovery. As we've already, I'm sure some of you might even know me. I have over 5 years clean and sober, and I never thought this opportunity would ever come that I would actually be a homeowner. This is my son Taryn. 6 years ago, I was in a very bad place. I was in a place I never thought I could be, but I was there, and I was there. I've made mistakes. I honestly thought that I had been paying towards this lien or this debt. I think I still have. I think we kind of figured it out, but I worked so hard to get here. I completed numerous treatments. I paid it forward. I'm a peer support specialist in the drug court program. I'm an ambassador of the courts. I graduated the drug court program. I never failed a UA. I hit that, and I just sailed. They had taken my son from me, and I couldn't have it. So I had to get my life together. I don't remember a lot of this. I don't know why it's that high. I just know that we were going to close this on August 11th, and 4 days before that, I found out about this. And I had given our notice to move. I was so excited, and I don't have that kind of money to pay. And I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Jenny. Okay, Commission, turn it to you if you have questions or comments.
Guess I can get us started, Mr. Chair. Maybe a question for Sandy, just as we're processing these documents. Usually our our precedent for compromising these liens, we usually look to, you know, a rule of thumb of, 50%. And I know maybe this particular person was ambushed by this in a closing, and so kind of giving her the benefit of the doubt of not knowing about this. But usually when we see these forms, some offer in good faith of some dollars. Was that any part of the conversation here, or is there somewhere we can meet in the middle?
We had discussed it. She doesn't have the funds to come up with a payment. She's obligated most of her cash, moving expenses, to get into this new place. As you can see, I mean, she only needs $9 to close, cash to close at the title company.
And I guess I'd just say to my colleagues, it's tough when we've held other people to a 50% threshold. I think there are some special circumstances here. I like to see in the packet in the statement we just had of kind of a paying it forward back to a drug court, and we need volunteers and peer support coaches in our drug court system. So I'm definitely willing to give some credit for that and avoid our 50% rule, which is a little bit arbitrary, but just kind of throwing out to my colleagues where my head is at on just how do we try to get to yes on this. And I'm not necessarily asking for 50%, but is there some other number that we could get to, or some other setting the precedent that we are giving her credit for something? I just don't want to open up the floodgates that yes, anybody can come and just get $0 and we compromise liens. So just looking at the precedent we're setting and how we've treated other people in the past to just be fair.
And my thought process is quite similar to yours, Commissioner. Thinking about, Jenny, how many years have you been an ambassador and a drug court volunteer?
5 years.
5 years? How much time do you devote to that?
A lot. I go speak out at the women's unit in Keystone. I provide transportation to other individuals that are struggling and need rides to drug court. Like I said, I'm a peer support trainer, and I'm looking so forward to that. One of my biggest goals through all of this was to go into that training and say, ladies, this is where I was then, and today I'm buying my very first house. I was so excited to be able to say that, and I just feel now I won't be able to. I want them to know that it really can happen. Your hard work, you just gotta be patient, and you just gotta work really hard, and you'll reap the benefits of it.
So sounds like a significant amount of time and number of years. How do you put a value on that? Was any of that court ordered? Is that all on your own?
Oh, no, that's all on my own.
All on your own, okay.
I have no ties to the court any longer in the criminal justice world.
Other comments?
I sort of feel very similar to my colleagues. I would hate to see Jenny not experience home ownership, especially with children, given that she's gone through the program and is now giving back to the community. And we've had similar situations like this come up in the past, and we've had some discussion about how to collect these liens. It seems like everyone that comes before us didn't know that they had an outstanding lien and discover it upon trying to purchase a house or some other venture. So I guess I would just encourage the commission to maybe look and have some more discussions down the road about how we can improve that system and get payments over time so we don't run into situations like this more often. With that said, I'd be very open to forgiving a large part of this outstanding lien. It does trouble me that it could bar someone like Jenny from home ownership and end up a perpetual debtor to the county. But I think we should definitely improve the way in which we collect these liens and make sure that people are aware of them and the consequences of the lien when it comes to home purchases, et cetera.
Well, I agree with everybody's comments and everybody's emotional input on this, and frankly, I'd much rather see her giving us some support through real estate taxes and being able to own her own home. I also think we have a responsibility to all the other taxpayers that are, quote, help paying for part of this because of the fact that we do have those services that we have to provide, which are pretty much state required. I'd throw out a number of 25% based on her voluntary services and her dedication to helping other people, rather than the 50%, and see where that goes.
So 20% of 18,000, so
25% of the dollar amount, yes.
okay. Okay. So motion or not?
No, it is a motion, thank you.
Okay.
I guess I can second that for the purposes of discussion here. I don't see the money. I don't see her ability to pay that,
No.
but, so maybe.
Totally agree.
So maybe there'd be an opening for a substitute amendment, I guess. Where I was at was, basically I'd make a substitute motion to compromise this full lien for a flat $1,000.
I'll second that motion.
I had a motion and a second. Do I have to take action on the first one, or
No, that's a
because I have a substitute? Okay, so I have a substitute motion and a second. Further discussion?
As I said in my conversation, I'd appreciate the fact that you've done so much for people who, frankly, in your circumstance, usually don't come as far down the road as you've come, and I do appreciate that. As far as remembering some of the stuff that you've gone through and didn't know that you had this lien, I can understand why that could happen also. And I'd be happy to support Commissioner Kipley's substitute.
So we have a motion and a second for a $1,000 payment to compromise the lien in full. My comments are I'm conflicted on this because of the obviously emotional appeal and the home ownership I get. And Commissioner Benega, your comments about making, this individual a property taxpayer, but we do have that commitment, that responsibility to the $20,000 that came from the taxpayers for past wrongs, and I do appreciate the work that that Jenny has done. I'd like to see it compromised in full for $1, but the motion is for $1,000. Any additional comments? I'm sorry, I can't take any other comments.
I guess, Mr. Chair, I'm trying to lean in and meet you here because there's the dollar amounts here, but I think we're all giving some kind of credit to the time in our giving back to our judicial system. So is there a non-monetary commitment that we could get? I don't know, I'm kind of looking to state's attorney office too, because usually these are just cut and dried financial in exchange for this payment. This lien is forgiven, but I guess I'm just throwing out there, is there any alternative of something to the effect of the ongoing commitment to the drug court and other things, a more qualitative request for it?
Non-monetary is what you're saying?
Yeah, if the dollars aren't there, are there other means of, I know we have the form, I don't have right in front of me right now, but we have the form for what circumstances can compromise the lien, payment in full, ideally, partial payment, no payment, and I guess maybe we're making a modified no payment is what I'm throwing out there. Is there a way to do that? And maybe asking state's attorney, is there something that has teeth that would stick? Because once we compromise the lien, we have no leverage over the applicant here.
Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Commissioner Kipley, your comments are all well taken and accurate. I think that without giving legal advice, from the floor, the statute anticipates different ways that the board can compromise a lien. There are, I don't have it right in front of me, I can look it up quick and recite those to you. One is obviously compromise, one is subordination. There's other options available to the board. I think that your summary about enforcement of any additional collateral conditions of, continued work with drug court, continued, cooperation on community service items, are all items that, you could certainly ask the applicant for. Whether or not she would voluntarily agree, I think, is an element that you may consider. And again, as you've indicated, once you've compromised, you could obtain those assurances from the applicant. However, enforcement later, there would be no enforcement mechanism whatsoever for the board to come back and recoup, any portion of that. I hope that answers your question. I can certainly recite the statute for you and pull that if you want to see those options that the state statute gives you.
I guess I'm coming around to, I know the chair can't make a motion, is why I'm bending over to help him out a little bit too here and meet halfway. I guess I think we have some assurances in good faith from the applicant, again, this ongoing contribution to our drug court system. And I'm guessing just from some of her attestations here, that's going to be an ongoing commitment. So I think I'd be amenable. I think procedure-wise, we probably need a substitute to the substitute to get to where we're talking, but maybe Commissioner Karski, you can, are you?
I just had a whisper in my ear, so you
we get
could,
down to a $0 or a nominal dollar amount that, like, I think you put out the literal token of $1 just to compromise this. I think if we have that with an assurance that I think I'm getting a nodding head in the audience of some ongoing support to our drug court system and paying it forward in a non-monetary way, I think I can come around to that motion. But if that's where you got to add up to 3 votes one way or the other here, Mr. Chair.
So if I understand the whisper that I just received, you can withdraw your second or your substitute motion, and then it would go back to Commissioner Benega to decide if he would like a vote on his motion. And yeah, so, and also the second on the substitute from, I think, Commissioner Heisey would also have to agree to withdraw the substitute motion. Then it would go back to Commissioner Benega to decide if he wants us to vote on his motion, or we can make at that point another substitute motion.
I'll make this very uncomplicated and withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw my second to the substitute motion.
Okay.
Withdrawals all around. So we got
everything's withdrawn. Okay, so we're going to start over.
Okay.
Looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion to compromise the lien for the dollar amount of $1 and assurances that we'll continue to see her in drug court and giving back to our justice system and human services system.
I'll second that.
Additional comments? Call the roll.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Moving on to the opportunity for public comment. We allow 30 minutes. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Jean Childs, and I live in Minnehaha County. At the end of the county commission meeting 2 weeks ago, I heard a prominent board member say, "I'd like to know why Leah Anderson, our auditor, has ordered illegal election equipment." unquote, quote unquote. Minnehaha County had purchased and been using an uncertified HP computer since 2019 and had sent it to ES&S to upgrade software in 2022. County Auditor Leah Anderson ordered new certified EMS workstation from ES&S in 2024, but they sent the county yet another uncertified Dell laptop. Auditor Anderson questioned ES&S on the uncertified laptop, and allegedly ES&S claimed they did not have any certified models available. Leah Anderson has to work within the parameters of the system you have in place. She always communicates with you as soon as there is a problem with following certification guidelines and the like. Stop blaming Leah Anderson for the problems you create, encourage, or facilitate. It is not too late to change your ways and follow the path of honesty and integrity. Thank you.
Additional public comment?
Good morning, Cindy Meyer. Free, fair, and honest elections unmarred by fraud, errors, or suspicion are fundamental to maintaining our constitutional republic. The right of American citizens to have their votes properly counted and tabulated without illegal dilution is vital to determining the rightful winner of an election. Under the Constitution, state governments must safeguard American elections in compliance with federal laws that protect Americans' voting rights and guard against dilution by illegal voting, discrimination, fraud, and other forms of malfeasance and error. Yet the United States has not adequately enforced federal election requirements that, for example, prohibit states from counting ballots received after Election Day or prohibit non-citizens from registering to vote. All this and so much more is laid out in a recent executive order by President Trump. Not only have we presented facts in regards to our county using uncertified equipment, 3 other counties did as well. These uncertified laptops were used to count 46% of the votes in South Dakota. Elections are considered critical infrastructure, and yet we can't seem to get any of you to pay any attention to us. Over 4 years, we've been asking for time on the agenda, but as the chair so delicately puts it, you will never be on the agenda. ES&S was recently interviewed on NBC News. ES&S stated they build machines that contain modems. Over 14,000 of those machines are in use. As further investigations have taken place, 11 states using ES&S are still connected to the internet. It's our neighboring states, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and 7 others. ES&S has stated they build machines with modems. ES&S sent to our county an uncertified piece of equipment when a new certified laptop was ordered. They sent an uncertified laptop, and that uncertified laptop came equipped with a modem. How can you say with any amount of certainty that our tabulators are not hooked to the internet? ES&S is a corrupt company, and yet we continue to do business with them. As it was stated in a meeting not so long ago, that Minnehaha County should even consider purchasing yet another tabulator. Seriously, do you even hear yourself? We've been telling you for 4 years these machines can be hooked to the internet, but who would believe us? We're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. With the information we brought forth about the uncertified laptops, now President Trump is also chiming in regarding mail-in ballots. Did you know? Well, of course you didn't, but let me tell you. France banned mail-in voting in 1975. Mexico banned it in 1992. Belgium banned it in 2018. Sweden, Italy, Ukraine, Russia, Japan do not permit mail-in voting at all. The reason why? Because it's riddled with fraud. Mail-in ballots that we have a ton of in South Dakota have no chain of custody. It is widely known in other countries that mail-in ballots are an easy tool to use for stealing elections. But in the USA, the most advanced and powerful nation on the globe, we have to make voting easy, like going through a drive-up window at McDonald's. And I'll say it again, elections are critical infrastructure. Not only do we allow for mail-in ballots from who knows where they come, but then we use machines to count those votes, machines that have the potential to be hooked to the internet, and then the results from those machines put through the EMS hardened computer that we know was uncertified and equipped with a modem. So it's also being discussed that the hanging Chad debacle in Florida from the 2000 election was just one more step in the direction of implementing vote counting machines. The whistleblowers are coming forward and saying that management ignored the quality controls that had been put in place for years, ignoring quality controls to let the paper ballot system fail so that touchscreen voting could be implemented. Where is our quality control system? We've been told we have the gold standard of elections for 4 years, but where's the proof? The proof that our elections are being stolen is pouring out all over. And what does my shirt say? South Dakota Canvassing was right about everything.
Gary Meyer. At the last meeting, South Dakota volunteers of the South Dakota Canvassing Group, along with Rick Weibel of Midwest Swamp Watch, presented some very serious findings regarding the private company that provides our ballot counting results after our elections. How unfortunate that after 4 years, this commission still tries to ignore us, with the exception of Commissioner Heisey, who said, "Show me some proof." And then he met with the auditor. As such, we caught the attention of another group, and that was the South Dakota Freedom Caucus. They put out a release on August 13th, and I quote, "The South Dakota Freedom Caucus is calling attention to serious violations involving non-compliant election equipment in Lincoln, Pennington, Davison, and Minnehaha counties. Equipment that may violate South Dakota codified laws and compromise election integrity. Uncertified laptops provided by Election Systems and Software, ES&S, for election management systems, EMS, including the Dell Latitude 5500, 5501, and 5540, of which Minnehaha County used, are not approved by the Election Assistance Commission under certifications required by South Dakota Codified Law 12-17B-2. These systems have wireless Bluetooth capabilities, violating the requirement for hardened systems with no internet connectivity, raising serious legal and security concerns. Invoices and county records given to the Attorney General and Secretary of State show ES&S provided uncertified equipment, failed to notify counties of noncompliance, and in some cases failed to deliver contracted support. This noncompliance spans years, undermining public trust and potentially calling into question the validity of past elections. Since 2014, these 4 counties have spent over $3.5 million on these machines, and which counted 45% of the ballots in the 2024 general election. Statewide spending may approach $8 million, money that could have funded simple, inexpensive, secure, and transparent hand counting at a fraction of the cost. The Freedom Caucus calls for an immediate investigation into ES&S, a full audit of election equipment statewide, a halt to the use of non-compliant machines, a review of the past elections conducted with uncertified systems, and stronger vendor oversight to protect South Dakota's election integrity." End of release. Now, Mr. Chair, I would like to repeat one of the sentences in here. It says, "This non-compliance spans years." You were very quick at that last meeting to wash your hands of it and throw the current auditor under the bus. This equipment was used in 20 and 2022 as well before the current auditor took office. Auditor Anderson had the guts to bring it forward. She told this commission about it, and she told the state's attorney about it. And nobody did anything. And lastly, I want to address a statement that was made by Commissioner Kipley a few weeks ago. who referred to the people that are looking into property tax, penitentiary issues, and election fraud as a minority group of subcultural people just sucking up all his oxygen. That was an asinine comment made from a commissioner, and I have a minute left on my time, and I will yield that to you, Mr. Kipley, if you would like to retract that statement. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Jennifer Foss, Minnehaha County. This morning I wasn't planning on speaking today, but just this morning I just happened to come across a post from Greg Belfridge, who is a political commentator here in this area. And 5 hours ago, he posted, President Trump says he wants to eliminate mail-in ballots, arguing they've caused controversy and opened the door to fraud. Supporters of mail-in voting say it's convenient, especially for seniors, rural voters, and our military. Opponents argue it undermines election security. Where do you come down? Should mail-in ballots stay, or is it time to end them? Note, absentee ballots are not the same as mail-in ballots. I'd like you guys to take a look at this post and see the comments. These are not South Dakota canvassing people. It's time to wake up and see what the people want. Thank you.
All right. Looks like public comment is done. We'll move on to commission liaison reports.
Mr. Chair, I suppose I'll get us started out here. Just wanted to mention that the campus master plan is proceeding smoothly. The community engagement surveys will be done in the next couple months, and the team will also be interviewing department heads and staff about short and long-term space needs. And I believe that'll be started September 9th through the 11th. And as a committee on that task force, among other things, I'm very interested in bringing to the conversation the possible future use of AI in different departments. I think that's an inevitability down the road as those capabilities continue to improve and governments across the country and incorporate them in different ways. It'd be interesting to see how they can be incorporated in terms of the space and the technological capabilities that the facilities will require. Also wanted to mention that Dakota Fest is going on this week in Mitchell. I believe it started yesterday. The conservation districts will have a presence table. I think they're hosting some activities, but they'll be joined with the State Game Fish and Parks Department.
All right. Appreciate your work on the campus master planning, you and Commissioner Benninga. It's a little extra overtime pay for you, but appreciate you taking that on. That's a huge project and long-term implications. So, any other liaison reports?
I would just add to Mr. Heisley's comments that there is a survey being developed that will be used electronically for people in the public to be able to have input, not just the employees and interested parties, but it will be available remotely. That hasn't been developed totally at this point, I don't believe.
Last Tuesday, I attended the Inside Washington with Senator Thune, a chamber-sponsored event. On Friday, there's another one with Representative Johnson. Interesting, just to hear, we have the Senate Majority Leader and Senator Thune here, hugely powerful position, and to hear his perspective on the things that are going on. A lot of it has implications down to the county level with Medicaid and that type of thing. So great program, great information, and there's more coming. If anybody's interested in attending, I'd strongly encourage it. Moving on to non-action commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, just want to
Yes,
make
sir.
a very, very short comment. Just wanted to note that I do applaud President Trump's executive order regarding nationwide election integrity and the efforts to make our own elections more secure, to build and maintain public trust. I think it goes without saying there's a lot of work to be done to build up trust in our institutions, and I'll certainly do my part in or towards that end. So that's all.
All right. We do have an executive session immediately following this, so I'd look for a motion to enter executive session for the purposes of codified law, South Dakota 125(2), 1, 3, 4, and 6.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We will adjourn to executive session next door.